Jon Justice Show, live right now on the CW58.
To deal with the benefit of the people around here.
Let's go and talk with Christopher. Good morning, Christopher. Welcome to 104.1 The Truth.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, John. Question for you. There's no doubt that Steve K used your show to kind of get his agenda ahead and so forth. In the article which I read, never even stated that, which I thought was pretty interesting for the Weekly to, conveniently leave that out. But my question to you and to Frank is, how have you guys together moved the party to get more conservatives elected to office? I understand, your show is for ratings. I get that. But at the end of the day, I mean, there's no Republicans on the city council. Antenori, you lost your seat. Kelly.
Okay, hang on. Stop. Here's the no, because you're creating a picture that isn't true, and I'm not going to let you to paint this picture. We elected while this guy was in here, we had a supermajority in both houses. We had more Republicans elected in southern Arizona than at any other time in state history. We had the entire city of Tucson ringed. The only reason I'm not there is because the liberal got on the commission to redraw the legislative districts and drew me in with the hippies, and I'm still calling them that, in downtown Tucson. It had nothing to do with John moving any needle or me or anybody else. They gamed us, and we got gamed. And we got gamed by the commission. That's the point. It has nothing to do with it. And the voters of this town, if they want to keep electing the idiots that are bankrupting this city, that's on the voters. That is on the voters.
What's your question for me, Chris?
So my question is, I mean, how have you guys moved the needle to get conservatives, Republicans, into office? I mean,
that's not my job. Christopher, how many times in the course of the past few years do I have to have this conversation with you or anybody else who wants to post the comments about this? My job is not my job is not to get people elected.
That's the point. You make a living. It's entertainment.
Right, exactly. So why are you asking me a question that doesn't relate to me?
The point is that you don't help the party. You don't help get people.
Then you know what, Chris? Tell people. Then tell people.
Well, how are you helping the party? Well, hang on, Chris. How are you helping the party?
How am I helping the party?
Yeah.
I'll tell you specifically how I help.
Apparently not by listening to my show.
No, but how?
I help the party by donating, number one.
Right.
And to be very honest with you, sometimes I wonder why. Secondly, having conversations with friends and family members as to why people should vote for the conservative platform, and by volunteering. But my question to you guys is, you have such a megaphone on this.
Right. Well, I do everything hold on, Chris. I do everything you just mentioned way more than you do, and I'm not trying to get anybody elected.
You do.
I donate to people. I talk to people every single day. But my job here is not to get candidates elected. It's never been my purpose. It'll never be my purpose.
Hang on.
You're absolutely right. It's for entertainment and it's for ratings.
But wait, you're making an implication that we're doing something wrong. So what am I doing wrong?
But Antenori.
But what am I doing wrong?
But hold on, look at the party. The party is a wreck.
What has he done? What does it do with Frank? What did he do wrong? How is he hurting it?
So when we call Ron Barber crispy chicken, it's funny. I get it.
Right.
Yuck. But does it help convince the moderate voter?
I don't care.
Okay, you've bought in, Chris.
That's the point.
You have bought into the narrative to surrender any. Now it's my turn. Hang on. You've bought into the narrative that the media is putting out there that any time a Republican says anything critical of a Democrat, they're uncivil or they're wrong. And anytime a Republican stands on principle, they're extreme or out of touch. You're buying into that narrative.
No.
They want you. Yes, you are. Because you're telling us.
The media manipulates the narrative. I get it, but at the end of the day, Frank, we have to win elections.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, Chris. Let me tell you something, Chris. Without the colorful language and without the colorful descriptions and without all of the things that keep you, at the end of the day, whether you want to admit it or not, tuning into the show every day, I would have drastically fewer listeners. I do the show, as I mentioned earlier, I do the show for one person and one person only, and that is for the person whose name is on the show. I don't do it for you. I don't do it for Frank. I don't do it for anybody else listening. This show serves a purpose, and that is to entertain me, and that's why it is successful. Now, I use colorful colorful adjectives, and I use colorful descriptions, and I do inflections, and I do really, really pee-poor impersonations. That's what I do. And it's, if you know what, if you want to go and help the party, then go out there and make it your mission to tell people not to listen tell people to not listen to my show. That's what you can do.
Here, one last thing. The reality is, when Republicans fight, when they rally and when they stand up on principle, we win. When back in 2010, after Obamacare passed, the Tea Party movement got together, it energized the base, and we swept. We were one of the only states, us in Tennessee, that added majorities in our legislature. Every other state in the country lost seats in the Republican side of their legislature. We gained seats because we took the hard conservative stand, rallied behind conservatives, elected conservatives, and got more Republicans elected to the state legislature and the countywide offices in this state than any other state in the country. When we lost seats was when we bought into the narrative that we're not moderate enough. We got to cave in to illegal immigrants and give them amnesty. We've got to surrender to the homosexual movement. We've got to do. No, that's true, and we've lost seats.
I don't listen. It's the tone. It's the tone that.
What you're again? I think you're buying the narrative.
I don't know how many times we have to have this conversation, man. Don't listen. Don't listen.
I want all your listeners to know that you're making a career out of this, just like Katie Pavlich. Okay, she has blown up. Great. But she's blown up by being salacious.
You know what? Who? Christopher, if people are so small-minded to be that influenced by me or Katie Pavlich, that's on them. That's not on me. That's got nothing to do with me. That's them.
Reagan, if he was running today.
How in the world do you? Why do you keep listening to the show, Chris?
I don't even think you're a Republican. I'm really beginning.
No, I've always questioned it from day go. He's good. He's good for entertainment purposes.
This is funny because
test, though, Frank. Pro-life. I'm pro-life. What else do you want?
No, that's not the litmus test. That's not the litmus test. Boy, are you shallow?
What is your real? What is your real beef with me, Christopher? I want you just to boil it down. Just tell me what your problem is with me.
My real beef with you guys is that your tone turns so many people off that they abandon the Republican ideals.
You bought the narrative.
Christopher. Good Lord, man! I wish I had that much power. Why don't you shut up and go listen to NPR? You won't, though, because you find my show highly entertaining, which is why you've been calling me for years with the same hack questions and arguments.
We need to shut up and tone it down. We need to conform. That's what it is. He bought the narrative.
More of the Jon Justice Show coming up on 104.1 The Truth.